Every student looks up to the student council president, Suzune Inukami, and her vice president, Kazuki Ryusen. Everyone also thought they would make a perfect couple and wondered if they were dating. They were always the center of attention, opposite to Usato, who was just a forgettable ordinary student with a rarely exciting life. However, deep inside, he was hoping for an extraordinary and fantastical life. After class, Usato noticed that someone else had taken his umbrella, so he couldn't leave due to the heavy rain. And although there was a remaining umbrella in the rack, he refused to take what wasn't his, and he could only wait for the rain to stop while wishing he could use magic. At the same time, Inukami appeared. She realized that Usato didn't have an umbrella, but she reminded him that they would be required to leave the school soon. Because of this, Usato decided to leave despite the rain. But luckily, Ryusen offered to lend him his spare umbrella. Usato was surprised that Ryusen knew his name despite not speaking to each other before, so he thought Ryusen was really a nice guy. After they settled on how they should address Usato, the three decided to walk home together. Usato was surprised by how friendly the two were, so Inukami claimed that she was just an ordinary student. But Ryusen argued that she was hardly ordinary, as not only was she top of her class in academics and sports, she was also a beauty inside and out. Seeing their closeness, Usato asked if they were dating. The two were confused, so Usato immediately apologized, but they also explained they weren't dating and were only spending a lot of time together because of their student council duties. Usato was in disbelief, but Inukami praised him for asking them directly instead of whispering behind their backs. Afterwards, Inukami asked Usato what he'd do after high school. Usato was still uncertain, while Ryusen realized that she had also asked him the same question. So Inukami explained that she was curious about other people's answers since she didn't have a plan yet herself. It surprised the two, as they thought that it was bad since she was already a third-year student. Inukami agreed, but she explained that she hadn't found what she wanted to do yet, as she immediately completes any goal she sets for herself. She also added that sometimes she would feel that it wasn't where she belonged. Usato was surprised, as he could somewhat understand how she felt. At the same time, Ryusen and Inukami stopped walking as they heard the sound of bells ringing. Usato was confused, as he didn't hear anything. However, when he walked closer, a magic circle suddenly appeared beneath them. Ryusen wondered if they had entered a film set, but Usato thought it was a gate to another world, while Inukami excitedly asked if he thought the other world would have magic, monsters, and heroes. After getting woken up by Ryusen, Usato saw a king sitting on the throne with knights and a priestess standing by his side. Usato was confused, and he asked where they were, but Ryusen had no idea as well, as he was only woken up by Inukami, who was really excited by the sight that welcomed them. The king introduced himself as Lloyd Volgas Linger, and he explained that he had summoned them as heroes to protect the kingdom of Linger. Usato and Ryusen were dumbfounded, but Inukami's excitement just grew after listening to the king. The king also explained that although they managed to drive off the demon lord's army's attack, they continued to expand, putting the kingdom in great danger. So as a last resort, they had to use the hero summoning, which is a forbidden ritual that calls forth accomplished individuals from another world. Inukami was really excited after hearing about the ritual, but Ryusen was enraged about being summoned to another world without their consent, and he demanded that they get sent back right away. However, the king apologized, saying that they didn't have a method to send them back. Ryusen refused to accept it. He argued that they had a family waiting in their own world. However, the knights immediately pointed their weapons at them, so Usato immediately tried to calm Ryusen down. And the situation de-escalated when the king kneeled down and promised to find a way to send them back before asking for their help until then. Afterwards, Inukami respectfully asked why the king called them heroes despite not knowing anything about them. Hearing this, the king had Welsi explain that the ritual summons accomplished individuals, and the bells ringing they heard indicated that they were heroes. However, they remembered that Usato didn't really hear the ringing bells, so they realized that he just got dragged along. Afterwards, the trio followed Welsi to get their magical abilities measured using a crystal ball. Ryusen was surprised that Usato wasn't upset about getting caught up in the summoning, so he explained that getting angry won't help and he'd rather find something to do. Ryusen thought he was amazing, but Usato thought Inukami, who was excited about their situation, was even more amazing. Ryusen agreed, and he thought he should be positive like her. At the same time, Inukami started using the crystal ball, which indicated that she has an affinity for thunder magic and that she has ample mana as well. Inukami got excited again after hearing this. Ryusen used the crystal ball next. It determined that he has an affinity for light magic, so Welsi rejoiced. But Ryusen had no idea about it, and he thought it was just for blinding enemies. And Yukami explained that he could launch laser beams or create a sword made of light. Usato refutes that Ryusen would still not understand it, and Yukami thought he had a sharp tongue, but she teases him that she doesn't mind it, so her perfect image in Usato's mind has shattered. Welsi explained that light magic was unparalleled against the demons, so Ryusen started to understand it a bit. Afterwards, Usato started using the crystal ball as well. He was unsure if he would have any magical power, but he was hoping that if he did, it could help in Yukami and Ryusen. The crystal ball shone with a soothing green light after Usato's touch. However, Welsi was shaking in panic, and she immediately dragged Usato with her to meet the king. The king was surprised by their arrival, but he asked about the hero's magical abilities right away. Welsi confirmed their incredible magical abilities, but her expression became extremely serious when she reported that when Usato used the ball, it turned green. The king had a grim expression, and even the knights worriedly talked among themselves, so Usato thought his magical affinity was really bad. The king immediately pondered the safest place where he could send Usato. Hearing this, Usato wondered if he was dangerous, but everyone around him had an undescribable expression when a woman in a white uniform entered the room. She asked the king how the summoning ritual went, then she noticed Usato and asked if he was a hero. Usato retreated in fear, while the king nervously told her that Usato wasn't a hero, and that he was an ordinary boy dragged into their world because of their ineptitude. She doesn't seem to believe the king, but she asked for Usato's name before introducing herself as Rose, the leader of the rescue team, although he thought that she seemed to take lives instead of saving them. Afterwards, Welsi told Rose where the heroes were, so she decided to leave and meet them. The king finally sighed in relief. However, Usato asked what kind of magic the green color was. Everyone around him had their jaws dropped in shock, while Rose confirmed what she heard, and she immediately asked to borrow Usato. The king immediately asked Welsi to send Usato away with her magic, but Rose caught up to him in no time. She promised the king that he would turn Usato into a full-fledged healing magic user, and she refused to listen when the king explained Usato's situation again. And Yukami and Ryusen were worried when they found out that Usato had been taken away, so Welsi explained that he would train in the rescue team under Rose. And Yukami thought it wasn't a problem, but Welsi worriedly admitted that her training methods were a little unorthodox, and she couldn't describe the subordinates she produces. Rose explained that Usato has the potential to become a healing magic user, so she brought him to her rescue team. Afterwards, she called for her subordinates, who arrived in no time with a terrifying expression. She asked them to take care of Usato. However, their introductions just scared Usato further, and he even wondered if Rose would be sacrificing him to them. Because of this, Rose had to kick one of them away to stop them from scaring Usato, although they protested that they were already being super nice. Afterwards, Rose explained that although they were his subordinates, they weren't healing magic users, and the 2 healing magic users on the team were assigned elsewhere. She also explained that she would be training Usato herself, so he started shaking in fear right away. Usato tried to ask to have someone else train him. However, Rose refused to listen, and her subordinates thought Usato was screwed as their boss would train him herself. While Usato was hoping that everything would work out, Rose was wondering how a healing magic user from another world would turn out. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and please subscribe so you won't miss the next part. And just comment down any anime you want to see in this channel.